106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Bartender knows what we want. We're a regular, everyday, 2-for-1 family, keeping each other from thinking too much. Someone's always buying if you ain't got money, 'cause everyone needs drinking buddies.
Everyday 2-for-1 family.
Keeping each other from thinking too much. Someone's always buying if you ain't got money.
Everyone needs drinking buddies.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back, folks.
Welcome everybody to C&D's Booze Reviews. Episode 20.
Yeah.
The #1 podcast in the Greenwood County area.
You bet it. Take it to the bank.
Take that to the bank. Yeah, we're big hit. #1 podcast in probably southeast Kansas.
We might be the only one. But
Yeah, we're probably the only but hey,
we take that responsibility very seriously.
If there's only one, it means you're #1, baby. But before we get completely into it, because I'm sure everybody did, if you searched for us on YouTube and didn't find a video from last week, it's because still we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, there was a little mistakes made.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
We did record. I just didn't get really good audio involved in that particular recording, which.
it's unfortunate.
But hopefully we got it worked out this week. So.
Yeah.
But, yeah, episode 20, kind of a milestone episode. 20 weeks. That's like almost half a year.
Yeah, dude. It's pretty wild.
It's been exciting. It's been exciting. But this week, okay, so last week, if you listened, apparently I picked the worst movie of all time, Mordecai. And this week was Chase's. And he came out swinging.
Yeah. But so I wanted to get back to like something that was a little newer of a movie that I think just released this last year, like a couple months ago.
It was in 2023. It would have been before the new year.
Yeah, but I chose Killers of the Flower Moon,
which we were always going to do it.
Yeah.
We had talked about it. We were just kind of waiting for it to. Where did you watch it?
Apple TV.
Me too, for free.
Yeah, well, I actually had to renew my subscription, but then I watched it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, but if you're subscribed to Apple TV,
yeah,
which was surprising to me because it just got out of the theaters, usually you have to rent it on like Amazon or something.
Well, everywhere else you had to like buy the movie basically
because it just came out. So a lot of the times when they put it on like Amazon, they don't even give you an option to rent it yet. They give you an option to buy it, and then you wait a little bit, and then you rent the damn thing.
But yeah, so I chose this movie. For those of you, I guess we can do a quick little background history. It's about the Osage Nation down in Oklahoma, and they found oil on their tribal land.
Shocker.
And it sets in motion a series of events that are very unfortunate and pretty disgusting acts, actually.
Yeah, and I gotta kind of be completely honest here. It's a Scorsese film, which means it's long as hell.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because they're always good.
Yeah.
I started day shift this week at work, which means I work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Some things happened at work, and I ended up having to cover some shifts. So I went from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. for the rest of the week. So being that it's a 3.5 hour long movie, I had to kind of find time because I'm sleeping most of the day to go to work to watch it. So towards the back half of this movie, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty droggy, and I'm going to have to rewatch it. Obviously I'm able to rate it, I think, objectively, but I need to probably here in a week or two when I have a day off where I'm not doing anything at the house to put it on and now that it's on Apple, I can watch it any damn time I want.
Yeah, and this time, I'm going to rewatch it too. just so I don't have to sit there and take notes the entire time and
Yeah,
actually
just enjoy it.
enjoy it.
Well, and that's the thing with what was the last movie that Martin did? Was it The Irishman?
Yeah.
God, that movie was long.
Yeah.
But his movies, I mean, before we talk about this one, I mean, just most, I would say the majority of, especially his most recent movies, are
Yeah.
long, in parts slow, not uninteresting, just slower. They're movies you need to really kind of pay attention to and
yeah.
immerse yourself in.
And there've
So-
been a lot of historical dramas lately.
Yeah.
But for those of you that don't know, Martin Scorsese, amazing director. He's made a ton of great movies.
300 years old.
He's old as hell, but he likes to keep actors in his movies. So like he has
Yeah.
guys that he constantly brings back for his movies.
A lot of directors, not a lot, but it seems like there are certain directors that do that. Like Tarantino, same way.
Yeah.
Scorsese, Shyamalan uses a lot of the same guys, which I guess makes sense because you know they're gonna. Of course, Tarantino and Scorsese both use Leo,
Oh yeah. Well,
which is like,
I mean,
you know,
duh.
But Scorsese's probably the most famous guy that he always uses
yeah.
is De Niro.
And so I guess we can just get
Yeah,
into
get
it.
into it, man.
So you see the opening scene of this movie, and by the way, this is going to be pretty spoiler filled, guys. And if you haven't seen the movie, you want to come back and listen to this later,
Yeah.
feel free. But so spoiler warning: the opening scene is I put down pretty powerful to watch because you're basically watching the tribe, give up their land and get forced into Oklahoma. And
Yeah, because they originated, or at least this particular tribe, because they said they were in Mississippi for a while, then they got pushed out of there. They were in Kansas for a while, they got pushed out of there.
Yeah.
Then they ended up in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and it's kind of messed up because you just if you know a little bit of the history, when they were in Kansas, they moved them to Oklahoma because they thought it was shittier ground, and that's where they gave them. But then they end up hitting oil and are instantly like,
Yeah,
I think it said per capita the richest people in the United States.
the Native Americans.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Osage tribe.
Which, it's not just the Osage tribe this happened to. I mean, look at the gold rush. Look at it happened in South Dakota. It happened in Wyoming. Like, virtually anywhere in American history where they think it's safe to put the Indians,
yeah.
they find out, oh, no.
There's something there,
There's
yeah.
something there, yeah.
So, but you see, the opening scene is you see them in their like hut kind of thing, and they're having this ceremony kind of, and they didn't want this pipe to leave their land, so they just buried in the land, and you see them end up getting moved or whatever, and they strike oil. Well, then it's kind of interesting because it does a slideshow of like old timey photos from back then. And you really kind of see how much wealth this tribe had.
Yeah.
Because they're out flying planes. They're dressed very high, sophisticated.
Well, didn't it say, and I might be wrong, did it say that when it was kind of narrating it, that the Osage tribe was one of the 5 civilized tribes, or it was the only one that wasn't one of the 5?
I think it's not part of the 5 civilized tribes.
They seem pretty civilized.
Yeah. So,
And by the way, you should say when this takes place.
I think
It's
it's
right after World War I.
Yeah,
so
it's like
1920, 1921, something like that.
I think so. But so you get introduced, you see all the wealth and everything, and it follows Leo's character, who I believe is kind of been a migrant of sorts, but he's going to see his uncle, played by Robert De Niro, who is called the King.
The king. Yeah, he just got out of the war. He was
And-
a cook in the...
Yeah. So you get introduced to those two characters, and right away, pretty much in the first 10 minutes of meeting Robert De Niro's character, you kind of can see that he's this kind of greedy, conniving old man. He has his plots.
Yeah,
or
it
he-
seems to me, yes, he's he's like a grifter almost. Like, he seems very genuine and like loving, right? Like, let's just look at the history of like mobsters and anything, right? Like, the people in that area love that like Al Capone, or they loved, I don't know. Why am I drawing blank on mobsters? I love mobsters, but like all of them, for example, because they give, when you're in need, they're there, right? And they
Yeah.
do that, so everybody loves them and turns a blind eye.
And like you're saying, he does do that. Like he buys like buildings.
Yeah, and he acts like he's a
schools and-
friend to the Osage people too, right? Like,
so much so that he actually learns their language, and he really doesn't have their best interest in mind.
no, he's conning them, man.
All he cares about is the amount of money he
bottom
can
dollar.
make. But so they have I wrote down, man, just from the first scene alone, though, Robert De Niro and Leo are just so good in this movie. Instantly, you can just tell, like, damn.
I wonder sometimes, like, when you get a cast like that together, which a lot, I would even make an argument that a lot of the cast of this movie is unknowns.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously they've acted in other projects, but
yeah.
I didn't recognize a lot of them.
For the most part,
But sometimes I do think about that, like when you get, because sometimes you'll get a movie, like you and me will see a preview and you're like, holy shit, how did they get all those people in that movie?
Yeah.
How could they afford it, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes I wonder what the budget for that is. Of course, there's lots of things. There's residuals, there's royalties, there's producing rights.
yeah, there's ways around it.
But when you have Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, that's a big bill.
Oh yeah,
But I also wonder too, because they're both friends with Marty Scorsese, if they're like,
yeah.
I believe
you know
in the
they're
movie.
in the later stage of their careers.
they don't
now.
need any more money.
Yeah, so
Especially De Niro. How old's that guy?
oh, he's probably close to 90.
You know, he just had a kid.
Yeah.
That is just wildly irresponsible.
So, but you pretty much get introduced to what he's willing to do to make money. The uncle, who we'll just call King, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I mean-
okay. But I mean, straight up, fuck, it's just cold-blooded murder right off the bat. He shot a lady or had someone shoot a lady. They're poisoning the alcohol.
Well, kind of part of his scheme, though, and like I said, I was kind of drowsy when I watched this, so correct me if I'm wrong. But part of the scheme seems to be to make it legal. He kind of shops out marriages, especially of his nephews. Like, you need to marry her and you need to marry her because she's got all these rights and she's got all this government money and all that. And now you're next of kin. So if this person dies or whatever, you get the money.
So how it'd work is
And he's not married, right? So he's just kind of pimping out all these people to native women.
yeah. So Leo's character, he kind of is a degenerate, and he's in town and he runs into the main actress in this movie, Molly. Well, her name's not Molly, but the character's name's Molly.
Yeah.
And he's talking to his uncle, and if you remember, his uncle's like, "That's a good marriage, a lot of money to be made there."
Yeah.
And so you kind of already can see like what their plan is, and
Well, but doesn't he tell him, he's like, I heard she was going with this other guy or whatever. He's like, you need to get in there before that escalates. Because didn't Leo, he got a job like driving a car, like a cab almost, or like a...
he took a car and he would just drive people around
Right,
town.
And then she got in the car and he finally expressed interest. And what I found interesting too is like she's talking to like her girlfriends and they're like, oh, he's so handsome. And they even ask her, they're like, you think he's just in it for the money? And she goes, oh, he wants the money,
Yeah.
but he also loves me. And I genuinely think that he did. It wasn't like a false. I mean, obviously there was some motivation there.
We'll
but
get into it. I don't think he might have for
beginning? Yeah.
but so he what's interesting to see though in this movie is they're so wealthy that the tribe is that like the white people like back then especially, they are willing to do whatever for these people just to get their money. And so anyways, King tells Leo's character to marry this chick, and they end up getting married. But I mean, his Molly in this movie, she knows, like, she's not an idiot by any
No,
means,
she's very smart.
but she's almost gullible sometimes in
I
this
think
movie.
she's just love drunk, kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. And like at first, I think you're right. There was actual love there, But as the movie goes on, I mean, you really just see him make some really terrible actions.
Yeah, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but I don't think it holds any substance to what you're talking about, but you just reminded me of it. You know, she's got diabetes.
Yeah, and that was interesting too, because I didn't think about that. But being full-blooded native, she doesn't know, her body can't process sugars correctly.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. That's a thing.
That is a thing, yeah.
Okay, because I thought that was just some bullshit the white people were peddling. So my argument to that, because listen, I'm an Irish guy. All right, I wish I had some native in me, because I think Native American culture is so freaking badass.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that later. But when they were talking in the doctors, and this is the 1920s, saying like, "Hey, lay off the sugars because you can't eat what white people can eat." When I saw that, I was like, they probably believed that. I was like, but there's no way that our bodies are that different. I don't. That is a thing though.
I believe that is a thing because they didn't have
It can't
sugars.
be now
Not now, I don't
because
think.
everybody's body.
But
acclimates to
at
it.
that time, I don't believe that they were ever introduced to sugar when, obviously before people landed on the United States.
Spaniards, by the way.
Yeah.
Not even just. No,
Yeah, I got you. But anyways,
I had to defend.
I don't think they ever had sugar, so
Okay.
it's not like their body ever learned to process
All right, then
it.
I'll eat crow on that. My biggest argument, I was like, I don't know, it just seemed like really like another way we could trick the Indians type thing to say something like that, or just pure ignorance. But I guess if that's a medical fact, then that's a medical fact.
I believe it is.
Okay, all right, we'll continue.
And so they get married, and pretty much instantly, Ernest is constantly like spending her money, and she has a lot of it.
I don't even know that she knows how much she has, like at times.
Yeah, and it really doesn't seem like she cares.
Well, why would she? She grew up in a teepee, dude.
Like she doesn't care about the money that much, but I think she's smart enough to know like what
she
it allows
knows
her
that-
to do.
Well, and that she's valuable. She knows that.
Yeah. But man, so they kind of they get married, and I think even at the wedding, his uncle comes up to him, he's like, the mom's real frail. She has the diabetes. He goes, so, if we can figure out a way to get her sisters out of the picture, you could inherit all that money.
Right, and then cut to drunk ass sister showing up,
Yeah, and her sister is a reckless alcoholic, and
Really doesn't play well into that stereotype, does it, there, bud?
well, they didn't know how to. They never got introduced to it. I mean, it's just a hard truth. But yeah. So they kind of start scheming a plan right at the wedding of how they can earn. And Ernest is fully into this because, I mean, he might love his wife, but he is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that it's just those two that get the money. And
Yeah.
so they, I think some time passes and they have children, Ernest and Molly.
Yeah. They have quite a few.
Yeah, I can't remember the number, but
Nah, me neither.
they have children, and that's when it really ramps up. And then King comes up with an idea of how to get rid of her sister, Angie.
The drunk one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's her name, Angie.
I don't know.
Anyways, Ernest's brother and her have a fight, and Ernest was talking to his brother, and he's like, "It's time we take care of this."
Yeah, it was good timing for that all
And
to come to a
so
head.
the brother offers to drive her home after they have this big argument, and she gets in with him, and then like the next day, she's
Find her in the river or something.
in the woods and beat the crap out of,
Yeah,
and
just brutally murdered.
yeah,
And what I thought made that even so much worse, like this just tells you how big of a sneaky piece of shit, greedy bastard that I don't know if King has turned Ernest into this person or if he always just kind of had it in him a
I
little
think
bit.
he always had it a little bit.
But he goes to the funeral home to make the arrangements for, his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want, this nice casket, and I want this, and I want that. And generally, the mortician or whatever, before they're buried, takes the jewels off of them, like all the jewelry and everything. And he goes, it's my wife's sister. Leave the jewelry on her. Leave it on her. And he goes, okay. And then 2 days later, he gets some goons to go dig her up and get those jewels so he can get the money from them.
And he's like, you're charging me Osage prices.
Yeah.
Because apparently
they got a lot of money.
Yeah, they got a lot of money, so they'll upcharge everything for this tribe. And yeah, Ernest, dude, in this movie, I kind of, and this is an accomplishment to say for Leo, because he just plays a kind of a not a conniving, very manipulative person very well in this movie.
But at times, I do feel like you get a glimpse of his heart in it too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, I feel like there are times in this movie. Well, actually, I have a specific time, but I'll wait because you're not there yet. But it was, listen, it's a tough movie to watch personally. Not because it's not good. It's great. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. I don't know. But I just have a hard time. Sometimes I'm like, God damn, shit like this really took place, you know? And it sucks because we love Leonardo DiCaprio. We love him. I want to see him be the good guy, which is a good stretch for him because in Django, he was the bad guy.
Yeah.
In this, I'm not saying he's not a bad guy in a lot of movies, but when the movie first happened and I saw Leo, or at least before I even watched the movie, I was like, okay, Leo's going to be the good guy, right?
No, he's really not.
There really is no good guy, honestly.
No, the good people are Molly and the other members.
Maybe
that, are
Jesse Plemons' character.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah.
But we'll get to them. But so the funeral happens, and like you said, he takes her jewelry, and then this obviously sends her sister Molly into a very bad set of depression, and it makes her vulnerable.
I also think it starts to make her a little bit more aware.
It does, and it definitely does in a way.
Or at least more suspicious.
Suspicious.
Because she hires a private investigator. There's like a lot. She's creating problems for King and kind of everything that he's...
And he even tells Ernest, he's like, hey, you need to get control of your wife.
Yeah, you need to get a control of be the head of the household again or whatever.
Yeah.
We can't have this. Yeah.
And so, oh man. I think the grandparents, I forgot to mention this, the grandparents too, and they're like, he looks more white than her. Or you remember they're sitting there and they don't care about, the kids. For them, they're like, oh, we're just going to make money off of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really is kind of diabolical
it's kind
to
of
watch.
Interesting to me too because, it's the 1920s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in other parts of the country, probably where there's not oil.
Mm-hmm.
Even Willie Nelson's parents, which was the 40s.
Yeah.
Interracial, whether it's white, black, white, native, whatever is not allowed.
Yeah.
But in this part, because of the money,
all of
a sudden everybody's cool with it.
Well, I forgot to mention this before they even get married or that plan even happens for him to marry Molly. There's a guy that he meets on the street that was an old war buddy, and he's like, yeah, this is my wife. He goes, full-blooded, got all the rights. Like that was
Which makes it, first of all, the prejudice of not being able to marry somebody because you love them is disgusting. Mm-hmm. That was a thing. It was illegal in, even in the 40s, I think, for a white and black person to be married, right?
Oh, yeah.
You could be prosecuted. But if there's money involved and people to benefit, all of a sudden...
Yeah,
there's no racism anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's just that's why I'm saying it's a hard movie to watch because it's very disgusting in a lot of ways. But it's an important movie, I think, and it's important that these things, even in today's age, are being these stories are being told because we live in a world now where that's not really a problem. I mean, I guess to certain people it might be a problem, but for the majority, it's not an issue.
So. Anna's, I figured I wrote down her name actually. Anna's death. This really brings the Osage tribe together.
They're pissed.
They are pissed.
Well, they're starting to see a pattern too.
Yeah, 'cause-
bodies are dropping.
And there's no investigations.
Cops aren't doing shit.
Yeah, and we should say the cops, the doctors, anyone that's on King's payroll is completely corrupt. They
Yeah.
don't give a shit. They're in it for the money too.
Yeah.
And so the Osage tribe has a meeting, and they basically say, there's one common enemy. It's the white people we're allowing in. We got to stop them.
But King is invited to that
Yeah,
meeting
it
because
was-
he's such a friend to the Osage tribe.
Yeah.
And he even offers money up. He's like, yeah, let's figure this shit out.
And so much so that, they talk about going up to
DC.
DC to talk to the president if they can, or whoever. And
Well, they do send a representative, and after that, King even gets with Ernest and is like, "God damn, like they're sending," but he can't obviously sit there and try to talk him out of it because he's got to be a friend to him and cover his tracks.
yeah,
But even he was like,
shit.
"Yeah, they're on to us," which it's not like it was very sneaky.
No, it is blatantly.
Like people get married or whatever, or there's next of kin, and then all of a sudden bodies just start dropping like regularly.
Yeah. And so, like you said, after this, they were like, we got to figure this shit out. We got to cool it. We got to figure out a way to stop these people from going up to the government because we don't want any involvement from them. But I think Molly's other sister dies because she also.
So, yes. Are you talking about the house getting
No.
blown up?
She had 3 sisters. Remember that guy was married to that white guy was married to.
She died prior to Leo's involvement.
Was that what? No.
Yeah, because when you first meet, what's his name, Billy or whatever, that was married to both sisters. When you first meet him, he goes, "Yes, this particular sister, whatever the hell her name was,
Minnie.
really got me. Yeah, Minnie really got me through that." And then you're like, "All right, cool." And so you don't see her die.
Or maybe Minnie was the one he was married to beforehand.
Prior.
But I think you see her earlier in the movie, and she's sick. She has diabetes. She's also very sick.
But that's also the one guy too
yeah, and
that I don't think was in on this shit.
No, he definitely
because
wasn't.
when the drunk sister died, he was investigating like a mofo,
Mm-hmm.
and Leo, like people approached him, was like, "Stop."
King even said, we got to put a stop to him.
Yeah. So I
And-
don't think he cared. He was truly in it because he loved this woman.
But when he gets remarried, everyone has suspicion. Like, that's what the movie does. It makes you
Right.
cast suspicion on everybody
Yeah.
because you don't know what their motives are.
Oh yeah, you're marrying another sister.
Yeah, but you find out, like you said, he has been running his own personal
Mm-hmm.
investigation, trying to figure out what happened to Anna, and he's actually he genuinely loves the family.
Yeah.
like he just wants to see them prosper.
Yeah,
and-
he's the anomaly of the group, like the enigma, the one guy
Yeah.
that. And then
yeah. And I wrote down, you find out Bill, who got remarried to the other sister, has been investigating Anna's death. He's actually a good guy, but Ernest is a snake working with his uncle, even if it involves murder, which I believe after, they figure out that Bill's been investigating
and making some strides.
and, making headway to get into the bottom of, obviously, Ernest and King being involved in these situations. You find out that, the King decides that he wants to get rid of him, like take him out of the picture.
Well, and Ernest goes and warns him, goes to his house, and it basically kind of not
Bill, in
many words,
in a roundabout way, it's kind of a really brilliant scene actually, because it's just the two of them talking away, and Bill goes, "You've been spending a lot of money, Ernest," and like he's basically interrogating him right there, and Ernest catches on, and he's like, "If I was you, I'd watch your back. It's dangerous times out here now."
Yeah, and he goes, "What are you gonna do? Kill me?" And Leo gets up and he's like, "Molly, it's time to go," and they leave, and then. So I did put this in my limited amount of notes here. when Bill and what's her name, Rita?
I think you're on. I can't remember now, but
Okay, so Ernest and Molly are asleep in this neighborhood, and boom, windows get blown out. And they're like,
well,
"Bomb."
we should say that Ernest and King devised a plan. They found this guy that was known as an explosive expert.
Right.
guy.
Well, but here's the deal. When I watched it, I thought it was more on King than it was on Ernest
it was
because they went and met with this world champion roper that said, "Nah, you need this explosive guy." So the house, they blow up Bill and Rita's house.
completely evaporated.
Oh yeah, like Chernobyl or whatever. like,
Yeah, it's
just completely kill it, right? When Leo, the scene where he's walking up to the destruction and sees it, that's why he's such a brilliant actor. He probably had an idea something was going to happen.
Well,
I don't think he knew because you could see it in his face. When you see Rita's head completely, like just the absolute terror on Leo's face, to me, it was like, that looks like it's a pivotal point where he's starting to realize how evil he might be, or like how his hand is in this.
Oh yeah, and
it quickly goes away.
wasn't there something? God, I'm drawing a blank now. But wasn't there something that they didn't think it was going to go through, or something for some reason because there was too much heat or something? And
I'm sure.
I think
don't know.
King went ahead and said, "Go for it," because he left town.
Well, and conveniently, when this house blew up, he was in Fort Worth. He was
Yeah.
nowhere near the crime, right? Like,
Yeah.
He had nothing. And even when he rolls back up on the destruction, like a day or two later, one of the cops or whoever is like kind of talked to him, and he's like, "This is
bad."
This is brutal, man.
Well, and he goes, "The idiot put too much dynamite.
Too
in the
much dynamite." Yeah.
And I mean, literally,
and
it's a
Bill's-
crater in the hole.
Bill is collapsed. He's got the whole house collapsed on him. And he's like, "Shoot me! Freaking shoot!" Because you can just tell he's in so much
Pain and
he's like, "Shoot me, you bastards! Like, just kill me." It's like, God
and I
dang.
think as King, like when he pulls back up after the fact, they're still finding body parts of
hands of the
hand-
housekeeper.
of the housekeeper. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely evaporated. her.
And, this was a little bit before that, actually probably right before that. But I did write down that my favorite little bit of acting that I had seen up to this point was King had told Leo to go tell this guy John to find AC Kirby. And it's a little fun bit in the movie. I thought it really holds not a lot of value. Well, maybe it does. So this guy John that kind of works for him part-time probably is at his regular job. And Leo comes up to him, and he's dressed all dapper and all this stuff, and John's in kind of rags. Not rags, but, clothes. And he goes, "Hey, you need to go find AC Kirby." And John goes, "Well, I don't want to lose my job and all that." And he's like, "How come you're always getting a guy like me to do your work for you?" And he goes, "I would do it. I would totally do it." He goes, "I don't know what AC Kirby looks like." And he goes, "Well, Ernest, my wife is sick. So when I'm done with work, I got to go, tend to my wife." And he goes, "Hey, my wife is sick too." Like, he's just constantly making excuses.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I don't know if it's meant to be funny, but it's one of those things that Leo does that to me is like a brilliance of his performance and his acting.
Yeah.
But it just looked like, and then also, you read into it and it's like, oh, he's just full of excuses to keep, because you don't see him personally go and drop a lot of bodies.
No. And I forgot to mention that there's another guy in the same gang. I think King beats the shit out of Ernest because
Paddles him because he says he's a grandmaster in the Masons and this is how we do it.
But Ernest is so goddamn greedy. He just bought a new car I forgot to mention this, Anna gets murdered or whatever, but the guy that murdered her, he let him drive the car. And he goes, "What?"
Same guy that went and dug up the grave.
He's like, "Hey, well, on your way back, why don't you just crash the car? I'll take the insurance money." So that actually kind of backfires in their face because he ends up getting arrested.
Yeah.
And later down the road, it leads to even more trouble. But King has so much power over Ernest. He sits there and just paddles and beats the shit out of him. And Ernest just sits there and takes it. And then the house later explodes and whatever.
Yeah.
And at that point, Ernest is pretty much completely under King's control.
Well, but that's what I think maybe that you can see in his face when he's looking at the destruction, where he starts to realize, oh, I no longer have any choice,
No,
any say. Like
no.
this is
And
it.
he doesn't.
I'm under the thumb, and this is a long movie, so we're gonna have quite a few notes. But
yeah.
but not too far after that, he starts to try to get in control of the doctors and when the insulin can be, given his wife. And
Which, at that time, insulin wasn't widely available at all.
no, I think he said that she was one of the
Five
people in the world that got it.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell, like, obviously we talked about how smart she is. Mm-hmm. And she's noticing, I mean, how do you
it's
how do
such
you
a
not?
pattern.
So
I
many
don't-
bodies are being dropped.
And it's all your family members.
Right. But she even goes to him and she goes, hey. So it's like she doesn't suspect him, though, because she's like, hey, we only eat food that's cooked by this person. You personally go get my insulin. No more doctors, no more this. Meanwhile, I mean, he's the one that's doing all
He's
the
the one
wrong
running
stuff.
Yeah.
And arguably kind of killing her slowly, really. I mean,
So I wanted to ask you with the insulin. At first, do you think it was just actual insulin that he was giving her?
yeah, I do.
I think so, too.
Because I truly believe, because like when he talked to King way earlier than that, and King was like, oh, this is a business arrangement. He goes, no, I really love this girl. Like, and there's a reason that she was never a target. Like at the beginning, because that would have been the biggest target right there. You're already married to her, you have kids to her. Let's kill her off. Now you already have all the money, and we don't have to deal with her bullshit of hiring people and doing all this.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely think, like, for at least a
In
while,
his own twisted way.
he wanted her around. He loved her, and
Hey,
she
can
was.
you pass me another one?
You betcha.
But yeah, you're right. That makes more sense. But so that scene's actually interesting though when he's talking to the doctor, because you get introduced to another native guy named Henry,
Yeah.
and King's like, oh, we'll get you fixed right up, Henry. It's no big deal. And well, come to find out, he's like what, 25, really young.
Yeah.
And Henry goes off into another room or whatever, and King's like, so what do you guys think? And then he's like, King, the doctor, because this is when you figure out the doctors are really in on it too. And they're like, he's too young, King. It'd bring too much suspicion. And he goes, but he's melancholy.
Yeah, and another thing that will just tell you how evil King is when he's trying to get an insurance policy on another Indian. Is it this guy?
Yeah, it's this guy.
And he even goes, he's talking to Ernest or somebody, and he goes, believe it or not, that's my best friend. He goes, but he owes me about $25,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, so I got an insurance policy on him, so when he dies, I get my money back, or at least until he pays me back. But he goes, that's my best friend.
Yeah.
And I think he genuinely meant that's my best friend. But he cares about the money so much
more
that he doesn't.
And so you figure out what their angle is, because before that, when they're talking to Henry, you find out that his wife's been cheating on him, and that he's been suffering with depression for pretty much his entire life.
Sure.
And their recommendation for him to get over it is drink alcohol.
Yeah.
And what this ends up doing is King plays the long game here and just basically makes him a full-blown alcoholic.
Yeah, and sometimes I wonder, like, it's a funny stereotype. Like, you and me make fun of each other for our hereditary
I don't know how
backgrounds.
to say it. See, we're too stupid to say
I know.
that shit.
Like, I make fun of you for being an Indian. You make fun of me for being Irish or whatever. But the one thing that we have in common is both of our people are stereotypically drunks.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, really anything and everything that ever happened to the Native American people was pushed on them by other folks. So that's why, it's a funny joke, like to be like, yeah, Indians are alcoholics. But no, historically they are, because white people probably taught them that this was medicine or this was this. And then, you get addicted to it. And then, yeah, so that's just a little sidebar of how shitty white people were to the natives.
And so, I mean, there's no way around it. You start to follow Henry, and they're constantly just getting him hammered.
Yeah.
And he's blowing money. And like you said, at some point, I think he ends up at King's house, passed out drunk. And Ernest is like, why do you take care of him? He's like, because he's my best friend.
Yeah.
And he goes, and this guy's going to make me some money when he dies. And, you know, he is his best friend, but he sets him up to get murdered.
Yeah.
And Ernest, oh, that's why Ernest gets paddled, actually. Now I remember.
Because he got shot in the back of the head, right? Instead of the front of the
Ernest
head.
sets up for him to get assassinated. And he's out and about with this killer dude or whatever. And they're drinking alcohol. And the guy gets out of the car and just shoots him in the back of the head. And King's like, are you guys dumb? I told you the front of the head.
Yeah,
so it looks like a suicide.
Yeah, suicide. Yeah.
And so this also, God, I don't know how to explain this. You find out that Molly and Henry have known each other for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Molly's starting to get really sick.
Yeah.
Like, she's not in.
Is that what happens with diabetes, or you think that's like the shit that they were giving her?
Well, you come to find out they're giving her a little extra something.
Right.
And Ernest chooses the ultimate evil path of King's like, hey, Molly's not getting any better. Let's just, come on, hasten it up. You got the kids to think about. And yeah, he starts, I don't know what it is that he's giving her, but whatever it is just starts.
Is that when they give him that other vial and they're like, mix this properly with the insulin? Yeah.
Yeah, and add this much.
Like I said, this is probably about the point where I started to kind of was laying on the couch again. Work schedule was crazy. I was kind of dozing off.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have the time because the length of the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't have the time to just try to like when I'd wake up from my little, doze off, like, oh, let me rewind. I just didn't have the time.
It's all good. So I think they start doing that, and you kind of start seeing Molly get sick. Well, at this time, her mom passes away. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the coolest scenes in the movie for me, is her mom is very sick. She's clearly dying, and she has a vision of an owl coming to her. And I guess in their tribe and their religion or whatever, they when an owl shows up or appears, means death's close at hand. And so the mom knew she was dying, and there's a scene where all of her remaining families basically are around her,
holding her basically.
Yeah. And you kind of just see her like stand up and start walking, and it's her transition to the afterlife.
Yeah. Really cool.
And it's all of her old family members are back, and like the pastures are all green, and she just kind of walks off, and she had passed on.
Everything you'd hope it'd be, probably.
Yeah, and yeah. And I was like, wow, that was a really beautiful scene. Like, that was really...
Scorsese, man.
Yeah, he knows how to do his thing, man.
I will say, doesn't have to be that long. Because, like, I was having a hard time keeping up with all the names, all the different bodies that got dropped. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not trying to talk shit because he's a genius, but it's like, all right, I was like, oh, wait, okay, that's this person. Oh, no, that's not that. It's just so many characters. It was tough.
But so her mom passes away, and Molly is not doing good anymore. She is very sick at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the depression kickstarts a lot of that too. I mean,
yeah. And for whatever reason, I put down, they just have the KKK rolling through town.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty random. I mean, obviously it happened, but there was no build up to that. It just happened.
And they're just in a parade, like, just walking down the main street. And I was
but you got to think, man. I mean, back then, when that shit got established, I don't think initially they were probably regarded as being probably as bad.
I forgot to mention, too, after the house exploded, Molly actually leaves towards Washington, D.C., and she has a meeting, and it kind of seems like the movie portrays it like it didn't go very well.
Yeah.
But the FBI actually gets involved.
Right. But yes, you're right. In this scene, it's like there's a bunch of Indians, and she's shaking hands with the president, right? Are we talking about the same thing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she's like, please, the police aren't doing nothing. Nobody's doing nothing. And the president just kind of like, okay, thank you. And then somebody else, I don't know if it's Secret Service, if maybe it's in some sort of political figure that's associated with the president, kind of takes a little bit more of a longer handshake with her.
Yeah.
And goes, thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Yeah. And I did a little bit of research. This is one of the first murder cases because the FBI hadn't been around that long. Like they
Oh, sure.
just
Yeah, probably
formed.
not. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, LANS is still,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
they
yeah.
just formed this. And so yeah, this is one of the first murder cases that the FBI investigated.
Well, that's really cool.
And so Jesse Plemons' character, I can't remember his name in the movie.
No, but before we get too into his character, can we talk about Jesse Plemons for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Jesse Plemons is probably one of the ugliest dudes I've ever seen.
Yes.
Okay, the first movie I ever remember seeing him in was Like Mike with, was it Bow Wow?
Yeah.
Okay, which came out when we were kids. Okay, and he played the bully in an orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
Then you didn't see him much. He's probably in some Disney movies or some stuff here and
Yeah,
there,
whatever.
right? Then Friday Night Lights happens, and he plays a character called Landry, who's a nerd and, not like a popular guy, but is probably, in my opinion, one of the best 3 characters in that show.
Oh, for sure.
And then, again, goes on a little bit of a hiatus. And it seems like, to me, these past, I'd say 5-6 years, this dude is killing it.
Oh, he's really good.
He's been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
He was in one of the seasons of Fargo where he won a Golden Globe
Yeah.
and met his wife, Kirsten Dunst.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then he just keeps getting casted. And I believe he was in another Scorsese film before this one.
Yeah.
A small part.
Yeah.
And his part in this is not big, but it's very important.
Yes.
He's a freaking good actor, dude.
Dude, I wrote that actually. I was like, man, he is so damn slept on. He's so good.
I think it's because he's a ginger.
He's just not like.
And he's kind of pudgy, but he's not fat, but he's not.
your like stereo. He's not your typical.
No,
Hollywood
and
actor.
do I think he's? I'm not saying he's not capable, but do I see him in like a leading role of a movie? No, but I think you put that guy as a supporting actor or a guest actor or whatever you want to call it, not a cameo actor, but just a character actor. You put him in the movie, it makes it so much better. He
I
is
agree.
so freaking good, man. So I just wanted to give him his flowers, but anyway, go ahead. But
So
that needed to be said.
they come in and pretty much immediately the FBI realizes like there's some fishy shit going on here because of purely just the amount of bodies and like lack of investigations, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say it can't be that hard to figure out what's going on. I mean,
And so pretty quickly, King and Ernest become the lead suspects,
duh.
like pretty much instantly. And Jesse's character is on their ass pretty much immediately, but he doesn't have proof.
Yeah,
And
circumstantial.
And so I think the sting kind of goes on for a while. And at this point, dude, Molly's bedridden. She is sicker than hell. She's pretty much close to death because she even sees a vision of an owl at one point, I believe. And
Well, but she lived a lot longer. I think she thought she was going to, because when she got on that train to go to Washington,
yeah, she thought
she even
was
said,
gonna
"This
die.
is probably where I die. This is the last thing I ever do."
Yeah. And Ernest meets him at his door. Like Jesse's character straight up goes to his door and he's like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about some things." And you can kind of see Ernest is like, "Oh, my wife's really sick. How about you come by Friday and we'll talk?" And like as soon as he closes that door, he runs to his uncle's house and he's like, "Dude, the FBI is all over
They're
us.
on to
And
us now,
And he's like, "Damn it!" Like he's like, "I told them that it's all their fault because they blew up an entire house, man."
Yeah,
Like,
they're not very.
It's not subtle like how
No,
they're doing
no.
things. And you can even like he meets him in town actually,
Mm-hmm.
and King's like, "What the hell are you doing? We'll talk later."
Yeah.
Like, don't talk out in front of everybody. Like, you're gonna get us caught.
Well, but I mean, if you think about Ernest's entire involvement in this, they've had no heat. They've had no pressure. It's not like he's
Yeah,
had to
they've been
be-
getting away with it for years at this point.
So he's not conditioned to, see that someone's tailing him or whatever. He's just freaking out. He's panicking, basically.
Well, and he should be because
Yeah.
like he knows like if they dig deep enough, they're gonna find all this shit out.
Oh, and they're digging.
Oh, and they are digging because I think they're setting up people as decoys, and they even start getting
That's
people.
really cool that that's like the first investigation.
It's
like-
one of the first, yeah.
So that really kind of pioneered everything that the FBI did after that. Then.
Yeah, a
that's
little
pretty
bit.
neat. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So, the king, after hearing this, like the FBI's coming down on him, he's like, "Oh shit!" So he just starts killing all of his triggermen.
Yeah.
Literally, anybody
no
that
loose
was,
ends.
no loose ends. He just starts offing them, and this makes Ernest even more panicked because he's like, "Oh shit,
I'm next."
I'm next."
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I believe, they're under so much heat. They're getting investigated, and like I think, I can't remember now what's going on, but King pulls up to Ernest and is like, "I need you to sign these documents."
Yeah.
And Ernest's like, "Well, if I sign these, like."
Am I getting killed?
And I'm like, he's like, what insurance do I have, basically?
Right.
And King's like, your family. The money's for the family. And you can see him manipulate him again.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. And he just signs it. And I believe that Jesse's character gets the guy that killed Anna to flip on Ernest.
Yeah.
And so they finally pull Ernest into.
What's his name? Blackjack Billy or something like that?
I can't remember. But they pull Ernest into the interrogation office, and he's like, I think they make him stand for like 12 hours or something, which you can't do that anymore.
No, but dude, not a bad tactic.
So, but he's staying true. He's just
Yeah.
denying. He's like, okay, well, I got somebody you want. I think you'd be interested in seeing. And they pull that guy in, and then you can tell Ernest is like,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
This is it. Survival mode now.
And he instantly goes, can I just talk to him for a second? And like, so they let him, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
like, why would you do that? And so they're sitting there, and he's like, I gave it all up, Ernest. They know everything. And Ernest just is like, fuck.
Yeah.
It is over.
Yep.
And
And by the way, when this happens, there's still like an hour and a half left in the movie.
yeah.
That's how long this damn
It is a
thing
long ass movie. They needed like an intermission or something.
No shit. Well, I had to take like 3 intermissions. I was falling asleep. But hey, speaking of intermissions, I need to take a leak.
Okay.
So this seems like a decent
Yeah,
stopping
this is
point.
good. This is good.
And then we'll come back and
Perfect.
continue. All right, cool.
Yep. We'll be back after these paid messages.
And we're back.
We're
Thank
back.
you to our sponsors.
Yeah, that was-
Caleb Mayfield Mowing Company. Mowing that does not do your yard, but will mow and measure your muff.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you. Big shout out to
Thanks,
those guys.
Big cool cat.
Thanks. Big support. C-Note.
So Ernest ends up getting bailed out, though, I believe, by his uncle, and gets sent home.
Well,
or
what
whatever.
choice does his uncle have?
Yeah, and him and Molly actually have an interesting conversation after that, because she's seen the owl, and she thought it was for her at first, and she looked at Ernest and she goes, you're gonna die next, Ernest, because King's gonna come for you, is basically what she told him. And at this point, she pretty much has to fully know, right? Like what's actually transpired in my head, I think. But Ernest, as a big of a he shows how big of a coward he is too. In this, he goes back to the FBI and pretty much flips on his uncle immediately as soon as the pressure's on him, and he tells them everything, and says that he will be their witness.
Testify.
He will testify, and he just needs immunity, or not immunity, but he needs safety, basically.
Yeah,
like,
anonymity. Is there a difference between immunity and anonymity?
no,
It's all the same?
I don't think well, yes, there is a difference, but in this case, I think they're not offering him immunity. I think they're just saying like, we'll offer you protection from your uncle. And I mean, he admits to all this. He admits to literally everything that he's been doing, like poisoning his wife, all the murders. And so the FBI actually ends up breaking into their house and takes Molly out of the house. And when they find her, she is borderline on death's door at this point. And I think they take her to a hospital, try to start getting her healthy again. And it all comes to a head, and Ernest takes the stand against his uncle.
Yeah, he does.
And the cool little cameo in here, you see the man himself, Brendan Fraser, shows
Brendan
up.
Fraser.
And he is this real dirty lawyer. And
Talk about another guy whose career's kind of come
I'm
alive.
so happy for him.
Oh, who isn't?
But he takes an intermission and he goes, somehow or another, he says, he's my client. I never spoke to him. And so they have to take a break in the case, come back a couple days later to re-adjourn. And you see Ernest gets pulled into a family meeting, and it's literally his entire family there. And they're like, you really going to testify against King? Is that the best option? Like, come on, man. You're going to take down your whole family. What are you doing here? He's like, and they convince him to not testify, basically.
Yeah, flip.
And he flips, and him and Molly kind of have a thing where they meet up. He goes back home with her, and he's like, I'm telling you, honey, I didn't do any of these things.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm innocent. He's like, why else would I not? He's like, why else would I do that? I'm innocent. And he's trying to convince her, like, hey, I had no part of this. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And you can kind of see her be like, bet. And
Like a guy that gets caught cheating.
yeah.
Like, I already know.
So, the court proceedings happen. They keep going on. And I think they end up arresting Ernest and Uncle and actually just put them in jail. And in jail, you find out that one of his children passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, it's a real quick scene earlier in the movie. She gets taken to another family member's home to get better or something.
I don't know. I don't remember.
But okay, well, she ends up finding out she had like whooping cough, and she dies from whooping cough.
Whooping cough. What a 1920s thing to die from.
Yeah, and so this breaks Ernest, and King's like, "It's gonna be okay. She's with our Lord and Father now," and he's like, "I'm praying for you. We'll get through this." Well, this kind of finally just breaks Ernest, and he decides that he will end up testifying against his uncle.
Yeah.
And his uncle's like, you can't do this. He's like, come on, think about it, boy. I've helped you and I did all these things for you. Well,
Yeah, you used him, is what you did.
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
And he's just trying to cling on to freedom
Yeah.
as much as he can.
yeah.
Well, Ernest ends up testifying. He confesses to everything. And he's like, yeah, I did kill her. I did have her killed. I did do this. And there's a scene right after he's said what he had to say. Molly comes in and she he's just like, I'm so sorry. And she doesn't like outwardly get pissed off, but you can tell she's angry.
Mm-hmm.
And she just ends up standing up, walking away, and come to find out they got divorced in real life. Like, you don't see this in the movie.
Right.
Because it pans.
Which was like a whole thing in the movie, right? The Osage don't get divorced because there was like a first husband before Ernest, right? Like this is a callback way back before what you're talking about. But his like uncle kind of turns his sights on this ex-husband, but they never like got a divorce, I guess.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, the Osage don't believe in divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Molly, the way the movie ends is kind of interesting. It's Martin Scorsese actually out, and it's like a stage show or something, and he's explaining what the fate of the people were. Well, come to find out, Ernest didn't get any immunity. He got a life sentence sent to somewhere, and then I think the uncle got sent to, I want to say Leavenworth.
yeah, good old Leavenworth, man.
Yeah, well, and and the movie kind of ends in a weird way. So I was like, well, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
why? What? I want to know what happens. Like,
Yeah, but a lot of Scorsese films do that. What's the Rotten Tomatoes score?
Oh, okay. Hang on 1 second. It is, well, if service would pull up, I believe it was a 93 though.
93
Yeah, from critics, and it was like an 85 for
audience score. And I bet it would have been higher had it been shorter.
Yeah, and that was most of the complaints I read.
Yeah.
But-
So, I guess, I mean, you don't want to. I mean, we've given away so much of the movie. You don't necessarily want to say how it ends. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's do our rating.
I'm going to give this,
Out of a 6-pack.
I'll give this a solid 5.
5?
And the only reason I wouldn't give it a 6, because I do think it is a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
It's so long.
Yeah.
That's my only complaint.
Dude, and he's been getting grief over that for years.
He doesn't care.
I guess he doesn't. Yeah. Like I said, I have to rewatch it because I was kind of in and out drowsing with the work schedule. So I'm going to give it probably a 4.25. And that's not to say it wasn't that's a pretty good rating, but it's just because I wasn't able to focus as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
So now when I rewatch it, that might change.
Yeah. And
But even for as much as I was able to be coherent through it, I feel like that's still a pretty good freaking movie.
okay, I just looked up the actual history of what happens after, like in real life, what happened.
Oh, yeah. Hit me.
King was received a pardon from the governor of Oklahoma and was set free in 1965. He died in 1986.
Holy shit.
This motherfucker got away with that shit. Well, not away. He served some time, but
Yeah, not that much
mean,
so
not
in the
a life
grand scheme of
sentence.
things. Yeah.
And I guess Ernest got paroled in 1947 after serving 2 decades sentence. Oh wait, that was King. Ernest Burkhart was the one that died in 1986. King was paroled in 1947.
Because he was old, man.
Yeah, and died in 1962 at age 87.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So these guys still had a pretty good life afterwards. Like,
I guess in prison, though.
no, they got out for what?
Who did more time, King or Ernest? Like, served time.
Oh, Ernest. Ernest did. Yeah, definitely Ernest.
The Kingpin never does the time, man. It's always the...
Yeah, but Ernest was way more involved. I mean, King operated it all, but Ernest got his hands dirty, man.
Yeah. Well, all in all, really great movie. I feel like lived up to the hype for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I will say this too. Like, I, at least to my knowledge, have no Native American in my blood at all.
Yeah.
However, it's probably one of the top 3, or I would say top 2 cultures that are not mine that I respect more than anything. And I'll say, now, because there seems to be a trend, or not a trend, I mean, just a history with the Indians where, like, even in today, like, there's a little bit of a grudge still, but also there's this maybe motivation or something to work with what they were given to make an empire out of it, or to just nose to the grindstone type
Yeah.
things, you know, that I respect the hell out of. Plus, I think their culture is cool as shit.
Oh, it's very cool.
And I also find it, and I found it interesting in this movie too, and it's very much just history that they're still very, especially back then, but still very tribal and still very traditional. But also, you see it in this movie, still very Christian and like godly and this and that, like kind of a mixture of a couple cultures. And as far like, listen, American history.
Well, in this movie, I think what the difference is for Molly's mom, she probably was, forced to move onto the land.
Right.
For her, she was probably born on the reservation, so I think that might be the difference you
Maybe.
see in the Christian and
Maybe.
the tribal part of it.
Sure. But even today, though, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
You
no.
still have tribes that are doing their very traditional
yeah,
things
for
that
sure,
are also
for
very
sure.
involved in like the church or whatever the case may be. And I think like American history is it's a very prevalent and successful story of history. It's also a very, very, very dark history.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the way the country was built. The way,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's all pretty dark, and you can look at it a lot of different ways, and in a lot of the ways, were wrong. You know what I mean? Like, but we had to be wrong to kind of build where it is now. Like it's such a catch-22. It's hard not to be excited without being disgusted.
Yeah, and dude, to be honest, this, like you said, this movie, it's at certain points it's kind of hard to watch because it's very disturbing. Like, you know, to think that just for money gains, people were willing to just trade away lives like it was nothing.
Yeah, and I don't want to compare the two, but there's, you know, the same actors in both. So like when Django came out, there were times in that movie where I was a little disgusted too, because it's like, God damn, that really happened. But in that movie, Django, being the freed slave, became like the superhero, right?
Yeah.
In this particular movie, that's not.
There's no winners, really.
Yeah, it's not the case, and it's just facts. It's just history.
And I actually wrote in my notes, Molly, you know, Ernest is the causing of most of her suffering in this movie. He causes most of her pain.
Right.
And in real life, you know, she suffered through a lot of things because of this guy.
Well, and imagine this too. This movie initially took place in the 20s, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when was it?
Yeah, I think maybe.
I'd say the most part of it was in the 20s because it was after the First War.
Yeah.
Even Jesse Plemons was like, hey, in 1921, you and whatever.
Yeah.
So when was America founded? 1490 something. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 14 whatever.
I think try 16.
Was it 16?
Yeah.
Was it really?
I think 14 is more like medieval.
Yeah, you're totally right. All right, so 1600s, right? Then we get, this is in the 1900s, okay? So, because we're idiots and we don't know, we'll say the 1600s. From 1600 to 1900, okay? That's 300 years, right?
Yeah.
That's 300 years the Indians got persecuted.
Well,
just hear me out. Yeah, okay.
It should be said Columbus didn't land in America, but he found the Americas.
Okay, fine, whatever. So Aztecs, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Magellan was over here too. I'm just saying for I'll cast a very wide net here.
Yeah.
And I'll say that that's the case. And, okay, all right, fuck it. We'll say the 1700s.
Yeah.
All right? Actual America or North America. From 1700 to the 1900s. That's 200 years, man.
Yep.
That's 200 years.
Yeah.
Okay? The Indians were persecuted and hunted and...
Oh, they were not liked by any means.
Okay, and then you get to the 1800s. Still, mind you, let's see, 1776 was when we signed the Declaration. When did we actually get over here? When was Jamestown founded? It would have been 1750-something probably, or 60-something?
Something like that.
Okay, 50, 60, 70 years where we're hurting this group of people.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's other groups of people that this country has hurt too.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to take anything away from that. I'm just saying you're talking hundreds of years, centuries, literally, that these people were getting knocked down, moved. You can no longer be here. Outsmarted, not to any fault of their own.
Technology was just better.
Well, and here's the deal. Like, it was going to happen. It was absolutely always going to happen.
Yeah,
It just whatever country got there first was going to do it or whatever. It was always going to happen. It's hard not to listen. I'm people from Ireland. We had no part in this shit.
Okay.
But it's hard not to watch something like this and in a weird way almost feel guilty. Like, even though I know that, like, I mean, you're what, Cherokee? Mm-hmm. Your ancestors weren't involved in this particular instance. They were involved in a lot of others. Mm-hmm. And mine weren't. But it's, like, hard to watch because it's just like, God dang, like, and even I would say in some circumstances today is not as ideal as you would like it to be. So that's a long running thing, man. Like, that's a lot of years.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
It's kind of heartbreaking a little bit.
And, I mean, it's pretty heartbreaking to watch in this movie, too, you know, because...
Well, and I'm glad, like, that's why I'm glad this movie was made. The story needed to be told.
Yeah, and it's...
And the girl that plays Leo's wife...
Lily, what's her last name? I just had the cast pulled up.
We talked about it last week, but she's from the Blackfoot tribe. Is that what you said?
Blackfeet. Yep.
Blackfeet tribe. So she wasn't Osage, but regardless, it doesn't matter.
Lily Gladstone.
Lily Gladstone.
Yeah.
And she is the first ever Native American woman to ever, first ever Native American in general, I think, to ever win a Golden Globe. Of
Like
yeah, I mean, at this point, a lot of people probably have a little bit of in
Yeah,
them, but like,
yeah.
again, actual belongs to a tribe,
yeah,
won an award.
yeah.
And I would not be surprised. The nominations haven't come out. I would not be surprised if she got nominated for an Oscar.
I'm sure she will. And what's okay? We didn't break it really down, but she's awesome in this movie.
She's great.
She's really good.
I'd never seen her in anything before.
No, and for this to be her first major role, like big role, dude, she knocked it out of the park, man.
Could that be a curse, though, a little bit?
It can be because
How do you step it up?
you gotta move on afterwards.
You got to pick scripts very strategically, I think,
Mm-hmm.
after this. But also, like, you don't want to be typecasted as the Indian.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, a lot of movies, which it's not, like, derogatory or anything because it's just history, but, like, a lot of movies, Indians get cast as Indians because that's what we need for this particular
Yeah,
film. And then,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's not a bad thing at all.
No,
I don't think, depending on how you want to
To
look
be
at
honest,
it.
how many Native American actors can there really be? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, they
I
made
know.
that whole Hulu show,
yeah,
Reservation Dogs or whatever.
So, I
and-
mean, I know they're out there, but like, it's not like predominantly.
No, I wouldn't say no. But that's another thing that's really cool too. All right, we're talking about hundreds of years of these people being weeded out,
Mm-hmm.
really, or even not even weeded out, but like belonging to tribes and being,
Yeah.
lots of different cultures now. I mean, bloodlines and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. They're still here, man.
Oh yeah, they're still here.
That's really cool. Like, I look at you and you are a fucking Indian, and that sounded hateful.
No,
That meant to be a compliment.
yeah, I get. Hey,
But like, it's just, I don't know. I admire it, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, I really think it's really cool because in the culture, just the history of Native Americans is really interesting to me because, even when people came over here and we were fighting the Indians, or I don't want to say we actually, because my people didn't have shit to do with
I
it.
get it.
So when people were fighting the Indians were also still fighting each other.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
oh
Like,
yeah.
That's so wild. And I truly respect a lot of their beliefs on a lot of things too. Especially because, listen, I'm a country boy. I love the land. I love the fish.
Yeah,
I love the
that's-
animals.
they-
That's their whole prerogative,
That's
basically.
what they did, man.
Yeah, and then they said, how can you own this? Nobody, like, everybody owns this. Like, it's a thing.
Yeah,
And in a capitalistic environment, you can't do that. There's a part of me that wishes there was still a little bit of that
oh yeah.
in society to
Well,
not like let's
Just a care for
Exactly.
your surroundings. and-
exactly.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
and being responsible for your own actions for that surrounding and
Yeah,
whatever. Like, let's just love everything and all this. Now, praying to the trees or whatever, I
yeah, I get it.
but that's what I also find fascinating too, is that, like, especially back then in these time periods in the late 1800s and early 18 whatever, when they got quote unquote civilized,
yeah.
which is such a really shitty term, I mean,
Yeah,
but they found Christianity and what they did is they found both, right? Like, I have my spiritual side
Well,
and
I-
also the Christianity.
I know for a fact Christianity was pretty much forced upon them.
Well, it was forced upon a lot of people.
Yeah.
Dude, look at a lot of the wars, the
Yeah,
pagan wars.
yeah.
I mean, that.
So, but like, I get what you're
But
saying.
still being able to say, like, I believe in this God in this church, but also
I have
I have
My
roots,
roots,
here
yeah.
where I'm not subjected to change is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's pretty admirable because a lot of cultures aren't really like that.
I will say, I think, this movie, what it shows me is, what I took away as a big message is, that tribe and the Indian nations and everything, they just are people that persevere.
Persevere, great word. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they will adapt to their surroundings and just try to persevere and make it better for themselves.
And it's not the only tribe that probably went through something like that.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
sure. I mean, oil's all over the Midwest. I
Sure.
mean, it had to happen
Oh,
more.
dude, even like, yeah, just all over everywhere, really. I mean,
Yeah.
But in our area,
Oh, yeah.
personally, we had the Kansas Indians, which is, what Kansas is named after. Potawatomi,
Yep.
Osage, Cherokee,
Kiowa,
Kiowa.
Seneca.
Yeah.
Kansas was a big.
Well, but
area
this is probably
for
a
it, but-
perfect spot for
I mean,
natives to be in,
it's
too.
just the middle of everywhere.
Exactly. You got hills. I mean, good farming,
Yeah.
good wildlife. Winters aren't too harsh, although it feels like it because we hate them, but they're not. Well, I don't know. Back then,
Yeah, they might have been way worse. I have no
who
clue.
knows? But good pick, man.
Yeah, and dude, I
Did you? And I know I joke with you about being Indian, but like I'm being dead serious here. When you watched this, did you feel any? I guess I don't want to be like cliche, but like, did you feel any connection or like sort of
I think I was more
like a more
intrigued by the story for sure.
did you feel more respect to maybe like what
Oh yeah,
somebody of your
yeah, of
traditional
course.
heritage went through?
Of course, and I was very upset watching it at some points because I'm like, man, like that's really
Yeah.
despicable. Like it's actually really tough to watch because you don't nowadays you wouldn't think of someone doing that
Never,
to take advantage of people. That's oftentimes I don't think they even in the movie, especially I don't even think they realized what like games they were playing. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, and
To-
like I said, you got to think this is even 200 years after they even got encountered by
Yeah, and
people that were
so-
already initially trying to take advantage and trick them into things. I mean,
Yeah.
smallpox blankets,
Yeah,
man.
I know. And so, like, yeah, I was, there's some scenes that upset me, but for most part, I was just really intrigued because I honestly didn't know much about any of these murders or anything
No,
like that.
I had no idea about any of this, and I like that's what I'm saying. I think it was an important story to tell. I'm glad that it's getting the amount of attention.
I think it's going to win some awards.
The problem is, you're going up against
This year is a stack.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some, I think, at least nominations and maybe some, like, I don't know.
they'll probably win for sure, like some stuff of like, I don't know, costume design or
Yeah.
some of the shit that nobody cares about.
I do think the actress, Lily, I think she has a very good
I wouldn't
shot.
be surprised if Leo and Robert both get nominated.
I believe they will.
I don't. It's gonna be tough, I think, in the male category for a lead actor to beat Cillian Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think it might be a little tough, like because Robert De Niro in this aspect is a supporting actor.
Yeah, but he's so good.
I know he's so good, but you're going up against Robert Downey.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But, the Academy, sometimes I don't think they get it right, which,
I think more times than not they don't.
yeah.
I mean, when are the Oscars? The nominations haven't come out, so
We've talked about it. I have no clue.
we should have looked it up by now.
Yeah, we haven't.
Yeah.
But,
well, I don't know. The Emmys were last week,
yeah.
and I watched a little bit of it. It was,
Yeah.
it's fine.
So,
Oh, but hang on. Before you ask me this, hold
Go
on
ahead.
to that question. Somehow Barbie was nominated for Emmys.
mhm.
Aren't Emmys for TV?
I think it's movies now, too. We talked about this last.
No, we talked about the Golden Globes. We didn't talk
Oh,
about
yeah,
the Emmys.
the Emmys. Yeah.
So, Emmy's best song for a motion picture was
I'm just kidding.
I'm Just Ken.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of Ryan Gosling's face?
He's just like, what?
He's like, how the yeah.
It was pretty
All right,
funny.
what were you gonna ask me?
I kind of forgot now. But overall, I would highly recommend this to people.
Oh, for sure.
Just be prepared. It is a long movie, and it is
It'll make you uncomfortable at times.
and it will make you uncomfortable. But overall, the acting's phenomenal. You know what you're going to get with Martin Scorsese. It's going to be beautifully shot. It's going to look beautiful. And yeah, I really enjoyed this movie though. I really did.
Yeah, I like I said, I gotta rewatch it because I was kind of in and out of consciousness, and I feel really bad about that because we have a responsibility up here to do these things. But
Hey, you did tell me I was going to take the low today, so I tried.
you did
my
a
best.
great job, man.
I tried my best, man.
You did a great job. Well, 20th episode,
Yeah,
big deal.
it's pretty.
It's probably our first milestone, I think.
Yeah, we can. I mean, 20 episodes. I mean, hell, we didn't know if we would even make it past 5.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
So we're keeping on with this thing, man.
Yeah, we're trying. I have some things that are completely unrelated to cinema
Okay.
that I've been sitting on for a little bit now that I feel like I need to bring up. Because here's the deal. I feel like our dynamic. Actually, you know what? Before I talk about this, I should point out we have probably talked about him every single episode, but our friend JP from the Juan and Only show,
The Juan and Only.
his new episode this week, he played a clip of our show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was when I was ranting about professional wrestling. I'm not going to talk about professional wrestling.
Okay.
But he played this clip, which I thought was kind of cool. Like,
Yeah,
thanks.
that's awesome.
Yeah, great promotion. Appreciate it. But he followed it up. So my clip plays about me going on my total tangent about professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, Knox, like I love that you love it. And I think it's funny when you get angry, but you're gay. He's like, professional wrestling is gay. It's like, okay. So you just turn into one of those people that I was talking about.
Yeah.
But so this is what kind of sparked this for me is JP kept saying in that episode, he thinks it's funny when I get angry. And listen, I do get angry about a lot of things that are not important, hold no substance, or just really trivial things to get upset about.
Yeah, and
I've always been that way.
I take advantage of that a lot because I like to get you fired up. Sometimes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do, and I don't think it helps me at all. Like, I would say in the grand scheme of things, like big things, like even if they make me angry, I feel like I handle them a lot better. Like, if me and my wife get into a fight, I don't start freaking throwing shit.
Dude, sometimes I just can't help myself though.
No, I don't think. I think, that seems to be a trend with a lot of people to me.
Well, I do it because I know I'm going to get some good comedy out of it.
Yeah.
So I'll just say something, and usually it's just so quick, like, I love Joe Biden. I voted for him, and you'll be like, oh my God.
Yeah, already blood's starting to boil. But I understand that when I start screaming about something, that it can be funny and all this stuff. And hey, keep it coming. Like it doesn't bother me. But what I'm trying to say is that when big things happen that make a normal person angry, they do make me angry. I just feel like I handle it a lot better. Like I'm trying to say, like with my wife, like if we get into a fight, I don't just go on a 30-minute spiel and start throwing shit across the room. But then you start talking about something stupid like how Shohei Ohtani's not a good baseball player or something, then I lose my damn mind. So it's something that I have been working on for the past few years in therapy and everything, like trying to figure out why do I do this. But that being said, I have a real new gripe.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go, people.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
I have one that has been making my skin crawl for a couple weeks.
All right, spill it.
So Facebook is really, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit, Facebook is really turned into this place that I hate. Recently, like I have talked about, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. You know what pisses me off? Facebook moms. I don't like moms on Facebook.
Why is that?
Lots of reasons. I have mentioned on a episode or 2 in the past that I feel like it's very stupid that anytime your kid puts on a new outfit, I have to see the photo of it. I think I don't care. I also feel like it's dangerous to post to a certain age, like babies.
Yeah.
Probably not that dangerous. But like, oh, we went to the park today. We're going to the park tomorrow. We'll be there at 1. Stop telling everybody that. It's the internet. Like there's creeps out there. Like that's dangerous.
For
It's
sure.
not, you
For
know,
sure.
I don't like it. And it's just attention seeking. Like you already had the kid. What more do you need from everybody? You need everybody to tell you like you have the cutest kid in the world. Like I don't know. But recently, what is pissing me off to a point where it's made me want to do like a very safe, small, contained act of arson. These stupid, and it seems to be women, I would say 37 to 56 are doing this. And they're doing these AI photos
Oh, yeah.
of like, they put up their picture to this generator
Yeah.
and it like photoshops them on a Harley from 30 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, once. All right, yeah, you know, it's kind of fun. Stop doing it every 10 minutes. Like, stop. Okay, you're on a Harley. Now you're in a snow hat. Now you're on a ski resort. Like, knock it the frick off. It is. I'm shaking now just talking about it. Like, it is pissing me off so much, and it bugs me because
To be honest, it seems like something really stupid to be bugging.
I
them.
know it's very trivial, but dude, I can't get on Facebook without seeing it. Like a buddy's mom is doing it. Like you're so bored sitting around the house, you're just constantly uploading a photo of you like to an AI generator where you're, you know, singing at the Las Vegas Sphere. No, I don't need to see that. That's so dumb. And it doesn't even look like you anymore. And I feel bad saying this because my aunt listens to this and she's one of the people that does this. And it's like, get another hobby. Get off your freaking phone. Like, dude, I can't even, I'm trying to express it without sounding like I'm just being irrational, but like,
No, it's definitely coming off like that, but it's okay.
Dude, it makes me so mad. So mad to the point where I'm not going to be one of these people where I say, hey guys, laying off social media for like a month, you know, but I'm going to do a purge.
Can I tell you a piece of advice?
Yeah.
If you just don't want to see it, mute them for like 30 days. You can do that.
I don't know how to do that.
It's literally like this little 3
Yeah,
dots.
but now I got to mute 17 different people. Here's what I'm going to do.
Oh, it's easy for me.
Here's what I'm going to do. Facebook came out when we were younger-ish. I'd say we were probably, what was it, 2009, 2008? Something like that. I don't know. But when it got popping.
10 maybe.
Okay. So because of that, or in a result of that, I have a lot of friends on Facebook that I don't even know who the fuck they are.
Oh yeah, dude. When I was younger, I just added anybody. I didn't care.
So I'm about to purge my Facebook, not just from middle-aged moms doing stupid AI photos, but just people I don't even know. Like I get on Facebook, I don't know. Like someone will post a photo of them and their husband or them and their wife or them and their kid. I don't even know who these fucking people are. But at some point,
We've been Facebook friends for 10 years.
right. At some point, I probably met them at like maybe a church camp or somewhere.
Whatever, yeah.
But I don't know who they are now. So I don't want to, I don't care to see it. Like, I don't care to see, you know, you, your husband, and your kid in Christmas pajamas. I just don't care to see it. If I don't have a connection with you or a relationship with you in any capacity, it doesn't need to be there. So I'm seriously considering, actually, I'm not considering, I am going to do it. I'm going to sit down on Monday in front of my laptop. I'm going to go through my friends list, and I am cutting people, just cutting them.
Okay.
Like, I just...
Well, you know what's funny is most of them won't even notice.
No, and that's fine. And it's not for them. Like, and it's not to be like, oh, what? Dalton's no longer my friend. I don't care what your reaction is. I think the only way I can feel healthy about my social media presence is to just get rid of these people.
Okay.
And it's not personal. It's just,
Yeah, that is a weird gripe to have, man.
dude, it's seriously been bugging me like real bad. This AI stuff is really what put me over the ledge. It's really been messing with.
Speaking of AI, I'm going to hook you up with a Twitter account. I found
To follow?
yeah,
Okay.
it's sports betting
It's no longer Twitter.
X, whatever.
Yeah, come on, man.
Shut up. It's sport. You just went on a 10-minute rant about Facebook moms and AI.
Facebook still called Facebook.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, found an account on X.
Yeah, come on,
where
Paul.
It's a sports AI. They use AI for sports betting. And it's 75% accurate. It's hit. So I'm going to hit you up with it because I know you like your sports betting.
I haven't bet on sports in 2 years.
Dalton, it's always time. Actually, you know what? No, you can't relapse yet.
Yeah, exactly, because you know what's going to happen if I start betting on sports. I'm gonna go down that hole again.
You think the Jags will cover?
Yeah, scratching my neck. Hey, Tampa Bay's playing the Lions tomorrow. I know Baker's been playing lights out, but Dan Campbell's got some tricks up his sleeve, huh? Yeah, that would be.
What do you
me.
think the spread's going to look like?
Yeah, so
You think it's over 2.5?
I'm going on a social media purge for sure.
Okay.
And it's not to make a statement. It's not to be whatever. I just feel like for my headspace and my own personal sanity,
Yeah.
I need to do it because here's the problem. When I see shit like this and it just irates me. I mean, shaking irate. Like I can be sitting on the couch having a great day and I see something and I don't have an outlet to generate that
Dude,
anger.
I kind of feel that in a way because on X, I try to stay off of it because there's so much negative shit on that that platform, man. Like,
Oh, it's a porn on there too all of a sudden.
oh yeah. So like,
Where'd that come from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
OnlyFans models, I have no idea.
It has
But
to be what it is.
so I try to limit my time on there because there's a lot of bad things and videos of like people getting their asses kicked or.
Oh, dude, that
Whatever.
algorithm's horrible. If you watch one fight, the next thing you see is like 16 different fights. And that's that's a gripe I have with X too. I don't follow any of these accounts.
I don't either.
Why am
they
I
just
seeing them?
destroy my feed with
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, I watched 2 videos of some fight or something. I just sat there and watched it for a second, and now it's like everywhere. But yeah, so I understand where you're coming from a little bit. I get the Facebook thing too because I do have a bunch of randos that I have.
Well, it's just people I've added over the course of 15 years or something
Yeah.
that I just don't need to have them on there.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. Like, the argument would be like my whole argument about like stop posting photos of your kid doing everything. Like, I get, okay, like you guys went to Six Flags. That's cool. You know, fine. Or like your kid had a Christmas concert. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Whatever. But the everyday thing, I don't think needs to happen. And I
At that
understand.
point, it's almost like a blog.
Well, yes, 100%. Yeah. And I get the argument that it's like, oh, it's such a great way for family that doesn't to see it.
Yeah,
right?
I can see that.
Okay, fine. Create a fucking Facebook page and just invite your family to it. Or how about this? Send it directly to them. Why do I have to be subjected to this? And like some people get weird about it
Dog,
too.
you're getting heated.
I know. I'm trying to
Yeah,
calm down.
all
I'm
right,
trying to
let's-
come down.
all
I'm
right,
trying to
well,
come down. I'm trying to come down.
let's-
But like some people are posting photos of their kids like freaking naked and stuff, and it's like, stop, dude. I don't want to feel bad for having to see this shit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch a video on whatever. I don't know. Like I'm just. It's such a freaking bummer. Dude, Instagram's gotten to be that way. You go to Instagram, I don't follow any of these fucking accounts. And I see, when I scroll, it's like these accounts that I have no affiliation with. It's this stupid algorithm and data mining that I don't want to see. And I keep thinking, like, a lot of the
Oh,
times...
you mean the Matthew McConaughey talking about data?
Yeah, if data's the new gold or whatever, I'm the miner or whatever he says. But I don't want to see it, and like, because a lot of the people that I follow on Instagram, for example,
Yeah.
I never see their pictures. So I just naturally assume, I'm like, oh man, Chase hasn't posted in like a long time.
Well, I haven't, but yeah.
Well, okay, that's a poor example, but
No, I get
just
what you're saying.
hypothetically, right? But
No,
then,
it's just a feed.
right, but then I click your profile. Turns out you've posted 6 posts, you know, and I never saw it. So that's why I don't think I get a lot of likes on my shit. It's because maybe people aren't seeing it.
Oh, the algorithm's putting us down.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. It's just
So, what is we've been talking about the social media platforms that we want to like as C&D's booze reviews.
sure. Yeah.
Like, what are you targeting for? Like, is it Instagram? Like,
You know, for an entertainment value to reach more people
just whatever, either or.
for this particular podcast.
Yeah.
I think we're on TikTok, which I think has been good for us.
And we're on YouTube now. And
We're on YouTube. We got 7
Yeah,
views.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, big.
I think
Big flex.
probably the most beneficial social media platform for this,
I think Instagram, to be honest. But
probably Instagram or TikTok, honestly. Honest
Yeah.
to God. Which we need to get on top of that. We'll make Instagram and probably
So,
even a Facebook
guys,
page.
if you're
or-
listening to this next Monday, you might have a friend request from us.
Yeah, and here's the deal. So this will come out on Monday. My plan is to have the YouTube video up on Tuesday. It's a lot to try to get
Oh yeah,
done in a short amount of time. So probably on Tuesday. But yeah, now my personal favorite, like not affiliated with this podcast,
yeah,
probably X.
yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
That's where I get most of my NFL news. and
Yeah,
stuff.
me too. I mean, that's and MLB news and stuff.
Yeah.
Although some of it's almost never true. Like Schefter put out the other day.
He's the worst. Dude.
Jason Kelsey officially retired, and then he came out on his podcast and he goes, "I didn't say that."
Yeah.
I mean, we all are assuming.
Schefter is the worst. He's also the guy who's like, Aaron Rodgers demanded a trade, and like right before the draft or something, and Aaron Rodgers is like, "Where is Shefty getting this
Yeah.
information? Because I didn't demand anything.
Yep.
I was at my house in California." So yeah,
The other thing, completely unrelated to what we were talking about, I thought would be a fun question to ask. Which ours are a long ways away. Well, 6 months. But Shaylee's just happened the other day. So, like, I don't know why I was even thinking about this, but you're at this age, your perfect birthday, realistically, okay? Well, you know what? Let's do unrealistically and realistically.
okay.
So,
that's a great question.
Let's say all the cards are on the table. You can do anything you freaking want
So-
for your birthday at this age with your family. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they have to be involved, but I'm just saying at
Yeah,
this
I got
position
it.
in life.
I got it.
What do you unrealistically? What do you do?
So I'm turning 30 this year.
Yeah,
So
big one.
Apparently, this is a big one.
Yeah.
I personally don't give a crap.
I think after the end of every decade, it's probably a big one.
Okay, well, if I was gonna do something unexpected, unbelievable, I think I would probably go to Europe and
Which country?
Italy.
Okay.
And for those of you that don't know, I used to be huge into art.
He used to be Italian, but he's not anymore.
Yeah, well, we got rid of that. 23andMe.
No,
what are you
Chase,
gonna do?
Chase is a very good artist.
And
Very good.
So I wanted to go to Italy to go to the art museums, and
That'd be cool.
yeah, it's always, and plus to try their food, obviously. But I always wanted to travel to Italy.
Okay, so realistically, like what you could actually make happen.
Realistically, I don't know. Maybe go. I've been to California several times now. I don't know. Maybe out to like a state I've never been to. Maybe like New York or something. Not city, but like northern
New York State.
Yeah, the state of New York, or I don't know, Montana or something.
You haven't been to Montana? Oh, I thought you did. Oh, you went to. Where'd you go to pick up that stuff for work that one time? I thought you went to.
Well, Michigan.
Oh, Michigan.
Way up in Michigan, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll get to it here in a second. But yeah, I went so far north up into Michigan that I was like an hour away from Canada.
Hell yeah, brother.
I was like, cool.
I think unrealistic expectations, and that's we're saying unrealistic right now. That doesn't mean that someday
It'll
it's-
never happen.
Yeah. I think if I could have the perfect birthday, unrealistically,
I already know.
it would be Fenway Park,
Oh, that's not what I thought.
watch a Red Sox game, and then get on a plane and go to Ireland.
That's a more interesting question, actually. I knew Ireland was somewhere in there, but what would, for each other, what do you think our unrealistic trips would be? I knew Ireland for you.
Yeah, I will go at some point. It's just not in the cards right now. For you, let me think. Okay, let's say time doesn't matter, right? There's one day that never ends.
Yeah.
Okay, for you, I think we go to Chicago, we watch a Bulls game.
Yes.
Maybe we catch a Blackhawks game while we're there,
Hey.
just while we're in the area.
Yeah, why not?
Then I think we go to. You've been to California. I know you love it there. You know, maybe we hit up like Yellowstone National Park a little bit
Oh,
as just like a
that's a good. Yeah, just a palate cleanser.
Yeah, a palate cleanser. Yeah. And then from there, maybe we do go to California. We go to the Comedy Store in LA, in Hollywood. We go to the Comedy Store, we watch some stand up, and then we top the night off with maybe a speakeasy or something
Oh
somewhere.
yeah.
That sounds like a good day.
That sounds like a great day.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of flying. But
Am I on the right vein?
yeah, no, you're in. You're in
Yeah.
there. Okay, for you, it would be first off, we'd take an intercontinental flight to Canada.
Oh yeah, dude, I want to go to Canada.
Well, I guess it's not continental, but we take a flight to Canada. Me and you up in the thick of it.
Yeah.
We're out looking for bears,
Oh yeah.
and we're
Maybe
out
some
there,
moose.
and I'm in full regalia. I'm
Yeah,
ready.
yeah.
I'm rolling,
Yeah.
and you get your bear. We get everything done.
Uh-huh.
Then we take a quick flight back down to Boston.
Yeah.
We got to go to Fenway, catch
Yep.
the Red Sox at a night game, maybe. Next day, we're getting up early. We're going to probably travel down to Wisconsin
Oh sure.
so we
yeah.
can catch a Bucks game.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're going to go out into Milwaukee, get a few beers. What? Then, while we're there, catch a quick Brewers game.
Sure. Why
Just
not?
on the back
We're
burner.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, might as well burn it.
In the area.
And then just to finish it all off, we'd get a private jet. We'd fly, I don't know, probably down to Nashville.
Oh,
maybe catch a
yeah.
concert or something.
Mhm. Maybe go to the Opry or something.
Yeah, maybe the Opry. I don't know. It'd be something like that.
That sounds like a great day. Both these days sound like great days.
Yeah, we just got to make millions.
My realistic birthday, like if Shaylee came to me this year and said, you can do whatever you want for your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
My realistic goal that I know could happen would be I'd probably go fishing in the morning because my birthday's in June, so is yours.
Yeah.
So can't hunt. So probably go fishing in the morning, maybe do some early morning crappie fishing, a couple hours, and then maybe go play 9 holes. Not a quite 18, but maybe a 9.
Quick 9.
Quick 9.
Get it done.
Maybe go play 9. Then backyard boozing with just like
Little beer darts being thrown around.
and just anybody that could be there hanging out, play some beer darts, do maybe some Beersby,
Oh, yeah.
some Louisville Chugger, just some real day drinking.
Some yard games.
Yeah, yard games for sure. Some day drinking. And then maybe we top it off by maybe going to like a Strong City rodeo, like a nice rodeo or something, and then hitting the dance afterwards.
Okay.
That'd be a fucking really good birthday, man.
That'd be a good day.
Oh, and then after we're done with the dance, go set lines, do some catfishing.
Well, the problem here is, can you make it through that day? Because
No.
that's a lot of booze flowing.
No, I'm just saying in a perfect world, but it is fairly realistic.
Yeah,
like
no,
all
it's-
those goals are realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to pace yourself for sure. Yeah. That's one thing that I've noticed since we started videoing. Doesn't make me self-conscious. I guess more so it makes me feel bad. Is that people can finally see the amount and how quickly I will go through beers on this particular program. Like, look at my pile.
Oh, I've been contributing.
I've been trying to hide them behind the lunchbox.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Yeah, of course you've been contributing, but like when I go to Wisconsin, like my cousin always tells me, she's like, I forget how quickly you drink beer. And I was like, well, yeah, you got to,
Yeah, you don't want to get hot.
smoke them while you got them.
Yeah.
That's what I say. You got anything else you want to bring up? I feel like this has been a really good episode for the movie. Like some of ours are better after, some of ours are better with.
Yeah.
This has been a very good movie oriented.
Oh, it's just a good movie to review, man.
Yeah, I know. And let's see. I'm up next week. It'll be. Well, there's one movie I'm just waiting for it to come be rentable
Yeah.
that I want to do. And then let's see. It's we're approaching the end of January. Well, we got one more episode in January, probably, maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
Then we hit February, Valentine's Day. Ugh. Tired of spending money on shit.
Most stupid made up holiday ever.
Didn't they make that?
They made
I
it for
could-
consumers.
Didn't the Hallmark or the candy company make it or
Somebody
something?
made it, but it's a made up holiday where
Yeah,
people go out and spend
Yeah.
money because they just want consumers to go out and spend money.
right. I'm really excited for March though for our St. Patrick's Day episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, because we can wear our green, throw up. That's another holiday too that it's not offensive by any means, but I don't know. A lot of people don't know the significance of the holiday and celebrate it as like this big drinking thing.
Probably the same as like Cinco de Mayo.
Probably. Yeah. And it's just like this excuse to go out to the bars and get hammered and wear green, which I'm speaking as a very small Kansas kid, Irish community member. We're like, hell yeah, we love it too. But I have heard, and I don't know because I've never been there, but I have heard that in Ireland they're not as pleased. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. This is just what I'm seeing on X.
Okay.
Because Irish people do that shit every day. They don't,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
they
I'm
don't
saying?
need
They
a
don't.
holiday
They don't.
for
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So, but I love the holiday too, and I get completely invested like anybody else. You know. Actually, matter of fact, like a couple years ago, I remember I got so excited. It was on a Thursday, and I was like, hell yeah! And I was in Piedmont, and I was like, hell yeah! And I came up to the bar here in Eureka. And there was nothing, no decorations, nothing. And this is midday.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I get a green beer? Like, I guess I'll go look in the cupboard and see if I have food coloring. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's St. Patrick's Day. What are you doing?
If it's on like a weekend, I think it's a lot, goes a lot harder. But
Yeah, I
whatever.
know, but we get one day. So whether it's a traditional holiday or not, we get one of them.
Yeah.
Got to celebrate the day. And I already know the movie.
Okay.
I kind of want to say, hey, what's it going to hurt?
Yeah.
To tell you. I have a hard time pronouncing it because I'm not from Ireland.
Was that Gaelic?
It's kind of it's not Gaelic. It's a name. I believe it's a name of a particular place in Ireland that I'm not very good at saying, but I will try. You've heard of the movie. I don't think you've ever seen it.
Okay.
The Banshees of
Can I see it?
Inisherin,
Let me see it.
but I don't think you say it that way. Because like if you look at a lot of Irish words, the way that you pronounce them or the way that you would read them out is not how they're pronounced.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
This movie won an Oscar.
yeah.
96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
I've seen it. Really obscure.
I'm sure it is. It's
But-
with Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah, but he's from Ireland.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it was, believe it or not, which we'll talk about it when we do it in a couple months, but that movie was very low budget
No, I believe.
and it was an indie and it blew up. It's so
That's
good.
great.
But all right, well, hey, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Check us out on YouTube tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll be on there, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It was a really important episode, I feel like, for us to do as far as the movie.
It was definitely a movie we wanted to get off the checklist.
And just basically, a lot of this, sometimes it could be more movie or it could be more comedy. I feel like this particular episode was fully driven by the movie.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And check it out on Apple TV, or you could probably rent it.
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon. We were excited about this. We talked about it, I believe, in like our second episode.
Yeah, we were hyped about it.
Because I had told the story of our friend Chandler somehow ending up on the movie set of this
Yeah,
thing in Arkansas.
No, Pasca.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it
You're
was,
right.
yeah.
Pasco, Oklahoma. He got drunk and somehow
Ended up on a set.
ended up on the set of the movie. Great movie. Yeah, check us out on TikTok. Check us out on YouTube. We're gonna work on some more social media platforms. And yeah, man, this was fun, dude.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for listening. And cheers, buddy.
Yep. Cheers. Love you, dude.
Love you, dude.
It felt
headphones worked out pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, they were great. Really good.